Good afternoon, it's 3 o'clock and I'm Adam Hillier, here with your 3 o'clock sports headlines. There was a big weekend of FA Cup action. Starting tonight, there are 8 fifth round ties across the weekend. The fixtures kick off tonight as Championship side Queen Park Rangers host Watford at Loftus Road. Elsewhere, Premier League champions Manchester City will be looking to avoid being on the wrong side of a cup upset when they travel to League Two side Newport County. City boss Pep Guardiola believes his side will take their opponents seriously.
They have done incredible in this competition. So they won Leicester and Middlesbrough. And what they do really well. So that's all I can say. We watch as much games as possible to understand what they do, and they do really well. So no, we respect a lot. We spoke with the team, so always we try to to understand the opponents. But in cup competition, what happened last season with Wigan and one game, or especially away, everything can happen. So we have to we will take it seriously.
The FA Cup, as we've said, returns this weekend, but one side that won't be in action will be Southampton. They lost in the last round to Derby County, and the Saints have been on warm weather training in Tenerife, preparing for next week's clash against Arsenal at the Emirates. Manager Ralph Hasenhüttl revealed that there have been a focus on the defensive side of the team's game.
We must do everything to have clean sheets. I tell it every week. That's the focus on next week, I can guarantee you, and I will be sure that we also make a few changes to defend.
There's been a breaking news story in the last hour in Hampshire as at a non-league club. Solent FC are through to the quarterfinals of the FA Vase. However, in the last 24 hours, there have been problems off the pitch as Hoogland scaled an 8-foot metal fence surrounding the ground and ran riot. Club secretary Greg Dixon said it was like having your heart ripped out.
He found out that they vandalised the dugouts, the defibrillator box. They chucked some chairs onto the pitch, broken one of the seats in the dugout. So it was just like an act of mindless vandalism, really.
Elsewhere, there is plenty of National League action this weekend. Adam White is here in the studio with more.
Thank you, Adam. Havant at Waterlooville have a massive task as they host promotion-chasing Wrexham at the Westley. A win for Havant would see them move away from the relegation places, leaving Barnet and Halifax Town in trouble. Elsewhere in Hampshire, Eastleigh will be looking to continue their current form. Ben Strevens' sides are joint top of the National League form table following 3 wins on the bounce. The Spitfires host Braintree on Saturday, and goalkeeper Luke Southwood, on loan from Reading, says their squad is in high spirits.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. I think it's obvious for the lads. Obviously, you've watched training. There's a real buzz about the place, and I think obviously the manager Strevs really helps with that. He really gets the boys going, and I think there's a really good feeling there right now, and where hopefully we'll continue to keep winning games and keep doing the right things.
A win at the Silver Lake Stadium would see them keep the pressure on the promotion places.
Adam, you've been watching Eastleigh regularly this season. They must fancy their chances this weekend.
Oh, most definitely. Braintree, they are capable of a shock. They did beat Salford City last week in the last minute, but they are bottom of the table. Eastleigh on a great run of form, as we said, joint top of the form table, level with Solihull Moors, who are top. And the confidence is high. I was there yesterday at the Silver Lake Stadium at training. The players really enjoying themselves. They're really enjoying life under Strevens. Despite the troubles this season, they are doing really well, and I expect them to pick up all 3 points.
And is there any team news ahead of the game this weekend?
Well, Strevens has been quite lucky this season with his team news. He's had relatively little amount of injuries compared to all the other teams in the league. But there were a couple of injuries picked up at Aldershot last week where they won 3-1 in the end. Ben Williamson, a striker, a second top scorer, has taken off with a calf injury. Same goes for Oscar Goburn, who actually came on for about 3 minutes before having to come off. So they're the 2 people that are missing. But other than that, the squad is fully fit and they should be ready for the game.
And manager Ben Strevens has been in charge of the club now for just over 3 months. How would you assess the job he has done at the club thus far?
He's done very well. Like I say, he's had a lot of luck with the squad remaining relatively fit, but he hasn't had to bring in many new faces. The one position he had to pay attention to is the goalkeeper position, with Graham Stack retiring early in the year. But the 2 faces he brought in, Matt Stryjek and Luke Southwood now from Reading, have done this extremely well. And really, he's continued the good work that Andy Hessenthaler started at the beginning of the season. The players all know him, they enjoy working for him. And really, I think the work he's doing is testament to where they are in the league so far.
Thank you, Adam, and let's hope the Spitfires can keep up their good run of form this weekend. Moving away from football now, and the boxing world heavyweight champion is being asked questions on his upcoming fight. Back in September, Anthony Joshua's request for Twitter users to choose his next opponent made no room for Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Instead, the 29-year-old will take on unfancied American Miller in Madison Square Garden in New York on the 1st of June. However, the Watford heavyweight looks forward to his next challenge with all the belts on the line.
It's an exciting fight. He's an undefeated heavyweight. And I know I'm always focused and disciplined and I'm always looking forward. But right now, I have to keep my attention and focus on Jarrell Miller. I can't afford to slip up. There is no banana skins in this road as we are heading towards the road to undisputed.
I've got our boxing correspondent Louis Pollock here in the studio. Louis, has this decision for Joshua to face Miller taken you by surprise?
Yeah, it has. I was really expecting Dillian White to step in to face Joshua because obviously he booked up Wembley for April, and obviously we were expecting a big rematch. The British boxers coming together again. Obviously, that was a fight was back in 2016, and Joshua did win. But obviously, Miller has stepped in with the money because we obviously Wilder and Fury were expected to be contenders, but there was always a rematch on the clause, and obviously because of the draw back late 2018, we all thought the winner of that would have faced Joshua, but the draw meant a rematch was on the cards, and now Joshua had to fly across the pond and fight Miller.
Thank you, Louis, for that. Moving forward now into rugby, England forwards coach Steve Bothwick says it's vital that they use the 2 weeks between Rugby Union Six Nations to improve. Eddie Jones' side have started the competition with wins against Holders Island and France and have entered the 2 weeks break undefeated. Borthwick says their last performance has set the tone for their preparations for the Wales game in Cardiff next Saturday.
The game plan doesn't last very long because actually once the players go on the field and play starts, they've got to be able to adapt. I thought in lots of occasions the players adapted really well. There's always other situations that occur, scenarios that occur that you then look at and say, well, what could we do better, and therefore how does that impact upon our training?
Kyle Coetzee has brought some Scottish pride back to cricket. The batsman's 74 helped the Scots beat Ireland by 6 wickets in today's 20 series game. Kevin O'Brien and Paul Stirling gained honourable mentions for their combined 115 for the first Irish wicket in Oman. It was a chance for Scotland to right the wrongs after defeat in the Netherlands earlier this week. Staying in cricket, and Derbyshire have just named the new 2020 head coach. The former England international Dominic Court spent 13 years at the county during his playing career. He steps up from his role of T20 bowling coach, which he held at Derbyshire for the last 2 years. In university sport, Bucks action has continued this week. Our reporter Rosie Tudball was there to follow the action.
Solent's second football team continued their unbeaten start to the season with a 4-0 thumping of University of Southampton at Test Park. The Solent ladies followed on from that game, seeing their title hopes dashed by league strugglers Hartpury in a 3-1 defeat. Later in the week, the Solent Redhawks American football team will fancy their chances away at Bath Spa, a side who are without a win this season. Plenty of action, plenty of goals, and so much more to come with this Bucks campaign.
And finally, women's golf, and England's best are gaining ground down under. Jodie Ewart-Shadoff has dropped back to 6 under, 4 adrift of the leaders Taiwan's Su Hu Wei Ling in the Women's Australian Open. England's Bronte Law is 5 under, with Charlie Hull's bogey-free 66 moving her to 3 under par. That's all for now. We will be back again in an hour. Remember, you can keep up to date on everything on our website at solent.journalism.co.uk and follow 9798 Productions on Twitter to keep up to date with everything that's going on in the newsroom today. At 4, we have full stories on football versus manager disagreements, as well as what happens when teams move on from their previous homes. And finally, just going back to Adam White, one more word on Eastleigh for this weekend. Can I have a score prediction for what you think is going to happen?
Well, I always hate to do score predictions, especially this close to kick-off, but you've got to say they're in fine form of scoring plenty of goals, and Braintree are quite the opposite, despite their 1-0 win over Salford City. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win at home. I think Ben Jones will be over the moon with that, and hopefully that will kick them on into those playoff places. Fingers crossed, really.
I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. Eastleigh are in great form. That's all for now. We'll be back again in an hour.